To Unscripted with me, Grace. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your viewership. I want to begin the show with a quote that I found. It says, "A strong woman knows she has strength enough for the journey, but a woman of strength knows it is in the journey where she will become strong." That is our guest today. Her story is one of strength and resilience, and I can't wait for you to hear it. And we want to celebrate her with Nivea, which is right behind me. You can see it. So before we begin, go and use it and have some nice glowing skin, right? Let's begin. Hi there, welcome to Unscripted with me, Grace. As always, it's a pleasure having you here with us. Thank you for making the time. And with me today is a guest. Your name is Ashley. You're looking gorgeous in this color.
Thank you. You look
so
lovely
yummy.
too.
You just brought life to the set.
Oh wow, thanks.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So before we get into your story, tell people, who is Ashley? What does Ashley like? What are you passionate about? Tell us a bit about you.
Ashley,
Yes.
28.
Really?
Yeah.
So young.
I'm so young, I know.
Uh-huh.
I love cooking.
Yes, you do.
I
You share
am
that
very
online.
passionate about
Yeah.
food.
In fact, why didn't you bring us some today we taste? I just see you sharing. I'm like, I was expecting something today.
Oh, sorry,
Springy,
next time. Yeah,
Okay.
next time for sure.
All right.
I am a PR in communications profession.
Okay.
I enjoy a lot of strategy development and
Great.
content creation.
Super.
So that's what I do professionally.
Fantastic.
Yeah, besides cooking and everything, I also have a foundation
Oh, great.
called Zurin Zilani Foundation.
Okay. So we'll
Yes.
get into the foundation.
Yes.
But you're creative overall.
Yes.
Yeah? This
I'm in
also
the
this-
creative
You're in the
space.
creative space.
Yes.
But the reason you're here is you were, for the last, I think, 2 years,
Yeah.
very vocal, sharing about your journey online, a painful one at that. And I can only commend you for being so brave and strong to just talk about your experience. And because it's a journey about loss, which is not easy for anyone to go through. But let's backtrack. You meet the love of your life, you get married, and you're happy, and you plan for your life, and part of that is having children.
Yeah.
So tell us about that journey into motherhood.
I got married in 2016.
Okay.
So my husband and I said, I think we're going to wait
Uh-huh.
for like 2 years
Uh-huh.
and then
Start trying.
conceive and
Okay.
start trying for a baby and everything.
Yeah.
So 6 months after our wedding,
God was like, ha ha.
behold, I was pregnant.
Uh-huh.
And it was the best feeling ever. We were so
Yeah.
excited. We
Oh,
were like, okay,
good.
even if we wanted to stay for the 2 years,
You were still excited.
it's fine.
Okay.
We were still very much excited.
Good.
And we began the journey together
Okay.
with the antenatal clinics and everything. We're just so hopeful
Great.
to have a child and just experience the whole pregnancy. It was really nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
Were there any complications?
At
Or at what point did they begin?
the 26th week, in fact, I started swelling.
Okay.
Like 25th week.
And by swelling,
of
you
the
mean the
pregnancy.
regular, your feet,
So my
or
feet got really big,
Mhm.
my hands, my face was very puffy,
yeah,
and I had a lot of headaches.
I see.
So the
And
so
nothing
abnormal.
was working.
Yeah, nothing was working. I was
Mm.
taking Panadols and all
Mhm.
that, but it wasn't helping.
Okay.
So we decided one day we were going out for dinner with my husband, and I just told him, let's pass by the local hospital
Yeah.
and just check my pressure, because we didn't have a pressure machine at home.
Okay.
So
But what made you think to check your pressure? Did you always have pressure issues?
I've never had pressure issues, but when I was doing the clinics, they
Mm.
usually check. It's random routine check.
Got it.
Yeah, so I was feeling
You just had a feeling.
headache and
Mm.
everything. So I just like, oh, let's just go and check my pressure and just check if there's anything.
All
Maybe
right.
even do a blood test to see anything.
Okay.
So I went to the hospital, and they told me, the doctor was very shocked
Mm.
at receiving my pressure results.
What are the
Because
results?
the normal pressure is like 180/20.
Yeah.
By then my pressure was 150, almost 160 over 100 and something.
Yikes.
So they're like, we have to remove the baby. And I'm like, I'm not even sick. It's just the pressure that is a bit escalated, but I'm feeling not
You didn't
so
feel
bad.
that? Yeah.
But we just said, okay, let's seek another opinion. And it was at night, so we rushed to Aga Khan.
So you went to a different?
Yeah, we went to a different hospital, and upon reaching there, they said the same thing. In fact, my pressure had gone so high.
Higher.
Yeah.
Oh,
so they were like, we can't release you right now. We have to contain you and just monitor the pressure for some time.
Okay.
So I really didn't want to stay in hospital. Yeah, because, you know, you have
no
a
one
life
wants
to
to stay.
live.
Yeah.
So the next day, they said, it's okay, the pressure has gone down a bit. We can release you. So I went back home. The same day, I started feeling bad again. So I went to hospital, and the pressure was still very, very high. So that started my journey into a 1 month stay in hospital.
A whole month?
Yeah.
So during that month, it's to just contain the pressure, or did they say we're going to remove baby? What is happening within that month?
The doctors were weighing. I was being seen by quite a number of doctors.
Specialists?
Yeah. The doctors were trying to push me to 34 weeks at least, because by 34 weeks, the chances of the baby surviving are quite high.
Yeah.
So my stay in hospital was very, very hard. I continued swelling. One day, I couldn't breathe.
Oh no.
I couldn't even reach out for the emergency button just to click it and alert the nurses. By then they thought I had a blood clot. So I went, did a scan. Hopefully there was no blood clot. It was just
what was the issue?
Swelling was so much.
I see, that blocked your airwaves.
Yeah, that blocked my airwaves. In fact, my voice has never come back 100%.
Really?
Ever since that
like
time.
It changed?
Yeah, it changed. It completely changed my voice till today. So they're really trying to take care of me and take care of the baby.
I see.
So at the point when the doctors said they can't contain me anymore, my organs were failing.
This was after how long? Just within that month?
Yes, within that month. But then I was 30 weeks.
I see.
So I had to go into an emergency C-section. Yeah.
So she came at 30 weeks?
She came at 30 weeks at 1.2 kgs on March 8th.
How tiny is that?
She was so tiny. Obviously, the pressure had also messed up her growth.
Okay.
So she also had, it's called intrauterine growth restriction.
What is that?
Because of the pressure, it restricts your baby from growing.
I see.
Because there's no sufficient nutrients and all these things that are going to the baby. So the baby...
So they come out much smaller.
They come out much smaller. So after delivery...
How was the delivery?
The delivery was very emotional. But the nurses there are really well trained. They really take care of you. And I really thank God for them because they acted very swiftly.
Okay.
And also the doctors, they came through on time.
And baby got here. How was it meeting her?
It was, I actually saw her after a day.
Okay.
Because I was still recovering. And then she had to be taken to the neonatal intensive care unit.
Okay.
She was in an incubator. She was very, very small and she was intubated with all those oxygen things. It was not a pleasant sight to see. I remember the nurses wheeling me in to go and see her, and I just couldn't hold back my tears. You know, because you've never...
Is it a mix of tears of joy and the state she's in?
Joy, you're wondering what is happening. She's on life support.
It's the first time you're seeing her?
Yeah, I'm a first-time mom.
I know.
You know, it was quite an overwhelming sight.
Yeah.
But I was hopeful that things are going to be okay.
So when she came, how long were you both in hospital and how was that like?
So for me, I was in hospital for a month and then I delivered.
Okay.
Zuri was in hospital for almost 3 months.
3 months?
Almost 3 months. The hospital cannot release you if your baby is not stable and has not gained 2 kgs. But my baby had a lot of complications.
What was happening?
She had a bleed in the brain.
Oh no.
She had high blood pressure, as small as she was. She had high blood pressure because she had quite a number, almost 4 to 5
Different
blood transfusions. At some point, she developed bacterial infection. I remember there's a time she also had edema like me, so she was swollen.
Through all of that, Ashley, what was giving you the strength, courage and grace to still be mom, go through those emotions, be strong for her?
I think I would say God, my husband.
Okay.
My husband was so strong.
Was he?
You know, maybe he had his own episodes outside me being with him.
Yeah.
But when I was with him, he used to really encourage me. I remember there's a time things were really thick. You know, I contemplated suicide. I was in an Uber going home.
Yeah. What happened?
And I just felt like opening the door and just throwing myself out because it was too much, too much. But I gained my strength from God. The other thing is just you know, when you're there, your baby feels all these emotions that you're having. So I'm trying to really be positive for her to feel better.
Though things turned again or changed for the worse, what happened?
So I remember this one time, baby was so ill. And during the course of the day, I was with my mom and dad. And I just
you were not in
asked
hospital? You were with your parents?
In hospital, sorry.
Okay, got it.
And I just asked my mom, do you have the peace of God that baby is going to be okay? And she was like, yeah, I do. She's going to be fine. She'll pull through. Yeah. And in her face, I just saw, you're just lying, you know? You're not telling me the truth. And in my heart, I just felt maybe this baby, the fight is over. Yeah. Because she's really, really struggling. I was checking her monitor, and her oxygen levels were dropping.
As you're standing there watching?
As I was standing there watching. And I alerted the nurse, her oxygen is going down. They went to her, they tried to resuscitate her.
As you're watching? As
I'm watching. And my baby went from 180, now the oxygen, 60, 21, 0.
As you're watching everything?
As I was watching. And she completely turned black. And the nurses were panicking. They were trying to resuscitate her, you know. And
what thoughts are running through your mind as you see this?
I'm like, what is happening? Like, God, do I need to see this, you know? At some point, I'm getting angry at God because he's allowing this to happen to such a small baby. Yeah. But I'm thinking, don't go when I'm seeing, you know. And she woke up.
She did?
Yeah, she woke up and they said they had to intubate her. By then she had the tubes for oxygen. Yeah. But now intubation means they have to put in the whole thing down her throat to help her lung
to pump.
Yeah, pump, because it's like she doesn't have the energy to do that. Yeah. And my husband came and I was like, this is what has happened. I really want to go to church.
Oh wow, that's what you wanted in that moment?
That's what I wanted. I just wanted to go to church. It was around 11 at night. Yeah. And we drove to church and we told the guy, just open for us.
Did they let you in?
Yeah, they did. And I went to the altar and I cried. I was shouting like a mad woman, you know.
What were you praying?
I was pleading for God to not take the life of my baby. Like, she was so young. She was such a small baby.
And gone through enough already.
Gone through so much, you know. That was like her 2nd month in hospital, almost 3 months. And we were just hopeful every day, you know. So we really cried to God to help her and spare her life. Yeah. So the next day, I couldn't sleep at all. I just had a bad feeling, you know. So I went to the hospital very early in the morning. I met one nurse.
Oh, so you didn't go back that night? You went home?
Yeah, I just went home. The next day, I go in. I met this nurse and I asked her, is my baby going to survive?
What did she say?
And she's like, I really don't know. I can't give you an answer.
Did you go check on baby?
So yeah,
Okay.
after that I just went in and checked on baby, and I talked to her. She smiled.
She did?
Yes, she smiled,
Oh,
but she
wow.
had all those things inside her.
Yeah.
She smiled.
And her color came back. She was herself.
Yeah, she was herself,
Okay.
but she was pale.
Mm.
She smiled, and then it's like she was crying. She started crying, but she can't make a sound because of all those tubes.
Right, yeah.
And then I checked her monitor again, and she's desaturating. Her oxygen levels are going down, and you see she has the intubation, so it's like full force, full like 60%, 100% oxygen. So the nurses removed me from the room. They took me to the adjacent room, and I was just there praying. So I'm in this room. I can hear what's happening.
Okay.
The head nurse came in, and she was like, "We are trying our best." You know, it was like a movie.
I can imagine.
So I had, thank you. So I had the last beep, and I just sat there. One of the nurses came and said she's gone.
Hearing those words for any parent, I can't fathom what that must have been like. What did that do to you?
I just fell down.
You fell down?
Yeah. My dad was holding me. I couldn't believe it. I think it's just the worst news any parent can hear. I just told them I want to see my baby. I really wanted to see my baby. I walked out.
Yeah.
I went to her room in her incubator, and I found her wrapped in white. And I was like, I was just here with you.
A few minutes
Like
ago,
a few
when she
minutes
smiled.
ago, you know. It's like you're talking to me.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
So I held my baby. I took her and wrapped her, and I held her. Imagine at that point I was still trusting God to wake her up. And I was like, God, please do something, prove yourself, you know.
You're praying for a miracle.
I was really praying for a miracle. I held her. I really held her. But then my husband had a commitment early in the morning, so he couldn't make it to come
So
to
he wasn't
hospital with me.
there.
So he wasn't with me.
Oh, wow.
So my mom called his friend and his folks. They came. And my dad had to sit him down. But by the time my dad is talking to him, I think he just knew.
Sensed it, yeah.
So when he came in to the room, he just collapsed. He just fell down. Because I was holding the baby, and he was like, he watched everything. And I held my baby for 5 hours. Just trying to plead with God, you know. Until she started turning blue, turning purple. Her color was turning.
5 hours.
Yeah. And it was so hard to, because the nurses were like, you have to take the baby. I was like, no, you can't take my baby away, you know. So the worst part came in when the morgue guy came
Oh no. To take the baby.
to take the baby. And he came with something that looked like a cool box. And they wrapped her, and that's where they kept my baby. I was like, God, why would you do this? You know? Like seeing your baby die, being put in that thing, like how can this happen? I've been with this baby for like 2 months, we've prayed. There's nothing we haven't done for our baby. All the meetings with the doctors trying to see if there's a solution,
Yeah.
you know?
What did this do to
So-
your faith as Ashley?
I was so angry with God, you know. I couldn't understand why a small baby can die. Now, the day we are going to bury her, I said, even though my baby has passed on, I'll give her a good send-off. You know, I just want to do a burial because the hospital asks you if you want to keep the baby or they keep the baby.
Oh, I see.
But I really wanted to have my baby.
Okay.
So on the day of the burial, my husband couldn't leave the house.
It was too hard for him.
So it was too hard for him. He said he doesn't want to go. And we're like, everyone was waiting for us. In fact, the service was late because of us. Because he really didn't want to leave. And I just encouraged him, we have to do this for our child. So we went. And then upon entering the morgue, I just saw her being put in a metal table. And she was cold. She still had the diaper on. She had her tube. There's a tube that she had for feeding. And I just told my mom-in-law, everyone was there. And I just dressed her.
You dressed her yourself?
Yeah. I just told, because my pastor wanted to do it, and just said, I just want to dress my baby. And we dressed her. My husband couldn't. So I dressed my baby, and then they put her in the coffin. It was just like, maybe something can happen, you know. She was so cold.
What do you mean by maybe something can happen? What do you mean?
Like something, maybe she can come back. I think I didn't come into terms with the fact that she's gone. So I just dressed her, and the pastor put her inside the coffin. And I was like, what is this? I've never even seen a dead body and everything, but I'm seeing my own child. Like, I'm going to bury my child. You know, it's so hard for a parent to bury your own child.
I'm so sorry, Ashley.
So, yeah, we went, we gave her a good send-off.
May God's grace always be sufficient, always. I have to ask, how did you and your husband get to a place of healing? The people at home who may have lost their children, and maybe they're in that situation now. They're with a child who's in HDU and not doing well, and they don't know what to do. How did you and your husband heal and recover?
You know, at the end of the day, I realized you're just the two of you. Yes, everyone can be there, but no one can feel that pain. Feel your pain. For us, I think therapy really worked.
Okay.
Because we started even having issues in our marriage.
It affected the marriage.
You know, it affected our marriage. And we were like, we can't continue like this. We used to get angry and upset at each other. Yeah. But I realized that we were grieving differently. And for me, I was like, I used to cry. I used to scream. I used to watch her videos. I used to do a lot of things, you know. I stopped because I love cooking so much. I have a cooking page. I stopped posting. I stopped doing the things that I enjoy. And for my husband, I felt like he's moving on, but he's not grieving the way I'm grieving. And so for me, that was a point of conflict.
Because you were not seeing it.
I'm not seeing you're not grieving how I'm grieving. You're not crying. There was a time I held him and I shook him and told him, scream and cry and
let it out.
You know, let it out. Why are you keeping quiet? You know. Yeah. But I realized his grieving was in his own way, and his grieving was different. Yeah. And I just understood him, and we decided to go for therapy. And I think it was just the best decision.
How are you now with God? Where are you with God? How did you heal that relationship?
I'm trying to really reconnect and not feel like
angry or hurt.
Yeah. I'm really building the relationship, I can say. I'm at a better place.
Okay.
Ish.
Okay.
You know, you cannot, there is no, you can't say there's a
answer.
Definite answer of when maybe you stop grieving. You know, grieving, it continues.
That's true.
You know, you can never be someone who was in your life, you know. So it's a real journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
I I can only imagine not easy for you to share, Ashley, but thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. You never know who you could be speaking to at home. How are you and your hubby now after a loss like that? Are you guys in a better place now? How is the family doing?
We are good.
You're good.
I can confidently say we are good.
Okay.
The therapy really worked.
Okay.
And
did you have a good support system as well? I'm guessing your parents.
Our families really came through for us in a big way.
Good.
And our friends.
Okay.
We really had a lot of support. Zuri passed on in April. Yeah. 25th.
Okay.
Before that, actually a week after her passing, I went for the 6-week checkup, all those things, and I got a coil.
Okay.
So I had the coil, and I really didn't want to get pregnant for quite some time.
You're not ready to have a child
I was not ready to have a child soon. I really wanted to go through this phase, the new phase in my life, and just get done with that and heal, and maybe after 5 years try for another baby. So my husband and I really put in place measures
to ensure
that we don't get pregnant. And in July, I came to find out that I was actually 2 months pregnant.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I was the 1%.
You were the... With the coil, very pregnant.
So I was the 1%.
Were you excited? Were you nervous?
For
How
me,
did you handle the news?
I was devastated.
Why?
I was devastated because I was still healing. I really didn't want a baby.
Okay.
And for me, my first thought was like, I'm not going to keep the baby.
Oh, wow.
And my husband and my mom were very supportive. Okay. And also my mom-in-law. They were very, very supportive, and they were for the idea that I keep the baby. Yeah. The doctors told me I have 2 options: to terminate or to go under high-risk pregnancy. So the doctor was like, let me do a scan, and if I see a heartbeat, but then I was 6 weeks pregnant, if I see a heartbeat next week, then let's continue with the pregnancy. So the doctor saw a heartbeat, and he was like, okay, I'll put you on serious medication. I was on serious medication. Like I had a separate bag in my handbag for meds. It was a rough pregnancy. I was in and out of hospital for quite some time. At 26 weeks, the swelling started again. So at 30 weeks, we went to the hospital. And my pressure was really getting bad, and the doctor was like, he did a scan, and he said the baby is not growing, and the baby had stopped growing at 26 weeks. He said, I'm sorry, but we have to prepare you for a premature birth, and we now have to start thinking about admitting you. But before admitting you, I'll give you 2 shots to mature the lungs of the baby. So that was on a Tuesday. On Friday and Saturday, I got my 2 jabs. Okay. And then on Sunday, I was feeling pain after every 5 minutes on my back and my tummy. It was really bad. I didn't know it was labor, but I think it was premature labor. Okay. I checked my pressure and it was really bad. So again, I told my husband, let's go to the local hospital where we are and just check my pressure. So when we're in the car, I feel like I'm peeing. I feel like I'm like real pee. And I tell my hubby, I think my water just broke, and we both laughed. So upon reaching the hospital, I opened the door. And I walk out and I look down and I am gushing a lot of blood. Like I am seriously bleeding. So
in your 30 weeks at this?
31 actually.
Weeks,
I called my doctor. My doctor is in Mombasa.
Oh, wow.
But thank God I had 2 doctors who are looking after me. So he told the resident doctor at where we were to give me 2 jabs and then get me to Aga Khan in like less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
So we're there, they wheeled me to the ambulance, and the bleeding was so much. I knew I'm not going to make it, and my baby is not going to make it. And while in the ambulance, I just made a repentance prayer, and I told God, I hope my husband gets a good wife. You know, because he's such a nice guy. Because I was like, I'm not going to survive.
You knew this was it.
I knew that was it. So thank God, my doctor, he organized every single thing. The doctors were doing everything so fast. So they removed the baby, and when they removed the baby, I didn't hear her cry.
Okay.
So I just thought, okay, maybe she didn't survive.
Oh.
Maybe the bleeding was really bad and she didn't survive. So I was wheeled out after the surgery, and my husband came in. I was like, where's the baby? And he's like, the baby's fine. We've taken the baby to NICU. And I'm like, don't lie to me. I didn't hear her cry. Please, if the baby is gone, just tell me the truth. Yeah. He's like, no, I personally took the baby up to NICU. My baby was born 975 grams.
What? How
It was not
that?
even
There's
a
something
kilo. I carried her diaper. It's the size of this.
Of the tissue.
It's the size of the tissue. I think your phone is bigger.
Let me see.
It's so tiny. My ring would fit in her leg, like I would put in my ring, my wedding ring. Really? She used oxygen for 3 days, and the doctors were like, she's really picking up. She doesn't have any infection. She doesn't have anything. Do you know she stayed in NICU for 2 weeks until she gained 1.1 kgs, at least 2, to take her to the high dependency unit, which is fair compared to NICU. Yeah. Apart from the blood transfusions, she has been perfect. We were just waiting for her to grow and take her home. I think.
When did you take her home? How long? We
took her home. She was born in January 6th. We took her home March 14th. Oh, wow. So she took like 3 months, 2 kgs. Oh, good. Upon reaching 2 kgs, now we took her home. And
how is life now? How old is she?
She's 1.
What kind of girl is she?
Turned 1. She's so fussy. She's such an intelligent baby. She's premature. Yeah. She's very, very small. Good. She's hitting her milestones so well. Good. She's quite sensitive. In fact, I've never had visitors in my house. Okay. Like, I can count the number of times I've had visitors in my house.
Just being safe?
Yeah, like it's a serious quarantine, like, you know. But right now, I can say my fear is not there. Good. I'm really taking the journey through motherhood very well. I had to resign. Okay.
And focus on baby.
And focus on my baby.
Understandably.
So
and I'm sure it's well worth it, isn't it?
It is. Yes. It is. Every single bit. I am glad. I'm happy with how far she's gone through and everything.
With everything that you've gone through, experiencing as a mother, what does motherhood mean to you now, Ashley?
Strength.
Strength. Amen.
Let me tell you, I look at moms. I'm like, wow, how do you do that with 2 kids, with 3? Like, what?
And you, with everything you've gone through.
You know, I really appreciate moms. I have a new level of respect for mothers. You know, even for my own mom.
Right.
Sometimes you
even come closer with your mom.
You want to say sorry for the things that you've not done, even as a
before
grown-up.
you do that.
You know?
I know.
Because I think motherhood has a lot of strength. Yeah.
As we finish, there's something you're doing now. With everything you've gone through, it's built a purpose. What? Tell us about your foundation.
So when I was going through everything, there was no support group for women who have gone through preeclampsia, who are experiencing a NICU phase, you know, having premature babies, how to deal with premature babies. You know, at times you don't understand how your body is functioning when you're having preeclampsia.
You don't know what's happening.
Yeah. So in that regard, I've started a foundation. Well, it's called the Zuri and Zilani Foundation.
Those are both her names?
Yes.
Okay.
In honor of my first
baby.
daughter, Zurin Zilani. So yeah, we'll be having events during the course of the year.
Okay.
For pregnant moms, for women who have gone through preeclampsia.
Okay.
Just a support group for women to come and share.
Okay.
And just encourage one another.
And where can they find you?
You can find me. I have a page,
okay.
Zurin Zilani Foundation,
okay.
on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
Zurin Zilani Foundation.
Zurin Zilani Foundation.
We'll add that at the bottom for people to follow, to engage, and hopefully get some assistance and support.
Yes.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you too.
You are a strong woman.
Too.
God enabled you, strengthen you, and fill your family with joy going forward.
Amen.
All the pain is in the past now.
Yeah.
Thank you for having the courage to share your story.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, I have a gift for you.
Oh.
Thanks to Nivea.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is just to celebrate you with everything that you've gone through. This is just something you can pamper yourself, something just for you to treat yourself. So this is the Nivea Nourishing Cream, Cocoa Cream. It smells so yummy. I have very dry skin, so this also counters for that. So you have the lotion, you have the cream, cocoa butter cream, and a little one for your handbag that you can indulge. And a cute bag that you can reuse as you do your shopping.
Oh yes.
So that's for you.
Thank
just
you
to
so
say
much.
thank you. Yeah, and just to encourage you to keep going. Thank you for what you're doing, allowing your story to change other lives and stand up for other women in a similar situation. We commend you, we see you, and we're